Her name was Willie May. In 2003, she was 84 years old. The young woman behind the cosmetics counter in downtown Atlanta asked the older Black woman what she used on her skin. Willie May told her. The young woman wrote nothing down because not one thing Willie May named was sold at that counter. She was not unusual. Every older Black woman on her street in Sweet Auburn kept a version of the same shelf. None of them owned a skincare routine. 13 things, all still made today. Her whole bathroom cabinet cost about $3 to fill in 1955. Number 2 is the thing the soap makers quietly took out 60 years ago and have sold back to you ever since. Number 1 is not a product at all. It is the reason the whole shelf worked. Let us count them down. Stay with me. Number 13. Willie May never owned a bottle of morning face wash. The older Black woman began every morning the same way for 50 years, with cold water and a clean cloth. Not cold from the tap. She kept a ceramic bowl of water in the icebox overnight. That is the part most people miss. Tap water in Atlanta ran warm in summer. The water from the icebox ran cold, and it is cold that tightens the surface and closes the pores before the day starts. She wrung the cloth out and pressed it to her deep brown skin and held it there. 30 seconds, no soap, no bottle. The face wash aisle needed a morning step to sell. If the answer was a bowl of cold water, there was nothing to put in a bottle. Willie May kept her bowl in the icebox to the end of her life. Number 12. The tall glass bottle of Dickinson's witch hazel on Willie May's shelf cost a few cents at the corner drugstore. One bottle lasted her 4 months. The older Black woman had reached for it since before she could say why, because her mother had, and her mother before that. Witch hazel tightens the skin and closes the pore for a while, and it sits close enough to the skin's own balance to leave it be. It does not strip it. Here is the trick. A cotton ball drinks up most of the witch hazel before it ever reaches the face. She cut an old cotton pillowcase into small squares. She kept a stack folded by the bottle. A flat cotton square gives nearly all of it back to the skin. She pressed it flat against her face and held it. 10 seconds to a section instead of wiping. The shops still sell the rosewater kind today for under $10. The bottle on Willie May's shelf did the same thing for pennies. Quick pause, one breath only. If you love videos like this one, make sure you are subscribed to this channel. It costs nothing, and it means everything. Thank you kindly. Now, back to the countdown. Number 11. The white jar of Pond's cold cream sat on Willie May's vanity with its green lid. It cost very little, and it lasted. The older Black woman used it to take the day off her face at night, never in the morning. Cold cream lifts away dirt and old makeup without water and without pulling at the skin. The trick was how she took it off. She did not rinse it. She pressed a soft cloth to her deep brown skin and lifted the cream away, wiping nothing. Rinsing cold cream with water leaves half of it sitting on the surface. Pressing it off with a cloth takes the day with it and leaves the skin calm. She did it slow, the same way her mother had shown her at that sink. The jar with the green lid is still on the shelf today. The price has barely moved. Number 10. The small bottle of castor oil in Willie May's cabinet cost a few cents at the pharmacy. The African-American grandmother used it 2 ways. Every night before bed, she ran a little along her edges, the fine hair at her hairline. A little along her brows and lashes too. Castor oil feeds the lash and the edge and keeps what is already there from breaking off too soon. The trick is the how. Dry lashes only, because castor oil slides straight off wet ones. A clean wand from root to tip, along the natural curve. never dragging the skin, and never near the corner of the eye, where the thin skin turns tender if the oil creeps in. She kept the date she opened each bottle penciled inside the cabinet door. One bottle lasted over a year. The Lash serum business reached $600 million a year by 2022. Willie May's whole bottle cost less than a loaf of bread. Number 9. The yellow box of Argo cornstarch on Willie May's pantry shelf cost a few cents and lasted most of the year. The African-American grandmother used it for two things the beauty counter would later sell on its own. First, dry shampoo, brushed into the roots the night before, never the morning of. That timing is the whole trick. Cornstarch put on in the morning sits on top of the hair and shows white no matter how hard you brush. Put on the night before, it has 8 hours to drink up the oil while she slept. By morning, it brushed out clean and unseen. Her press held a second day because of something she did quietly before bed. Second, she dusted a little through a cloth to set her Overton high brown face powder with no third product at all. The dry shampoo aisle is worth billions now. The box of starch cost pennies and lived in the kitchen. Here is the line Willie May never drew. The line between the bathroom shelf and the kitchen cupboard, between what goes on the body and what goes in it. The older black woman did not think of cold cream as one kind of thing and cornstarch as another. That line was drawn later by the people who needed 2 aisles and 2 budgets instead of 1 shelf. Her mother had never been told it was a line worth drawing, so the next things on Willie May's list do not live in the bathroom at all. They live in the pantry, in the icebox, on the shelf between the flour and the vinegar. She never had a word for it. She just reached for what worked. Number 8. Willie May kept half a lemon in a small dish in the icebox. 2 evenings a week, she took it out. The older black woman rubbed the cut face of it over her elbows and her knuckles, and over any dark marks on the backs of her dark hands. She had done this since she was a girl. The acid in a lemon is the same kind the shops now bottle. They sell it as an exfoliant for Bolivar billions a year. A lemon gave it to her gently, mild enough to use again and again, enough to keep her tone even over the years. But there was one rule, and it was the whole thing. Never before going out in the sun. Citrus on skin that then meets sunlight can burn and darken. That is the very thing she was working to even. Evenings only, always rinsed clean before morning. Willie May knew the rule long before she knew the word for what it prevented. The lemon cost a penny. The rule cost nothing. Number 7. The blue tin of Vaseline on Willie May's shelf cost almost nothing and never seemed to empty. At night, the African-American grandmother smoothed the thinnest film of it over her face after she had dampened the skin. Not a thick coat, a trace. The jelly does not feed the skin. It seals it, and it locks the water against the skin so nothing escapes while she slept. The trick is the damp skin underneath and the thin hand on top. Too thick, and it just sits there. A thin film over slightly damp skin leaves the face soft and full by morning. The beauty world rediscovered this a few years ago, gave it a brand new name, and built a glossy following around it. Willie May had been sealing her deep brown skin this way for 60 years. The tin cost $1 and lasted half of one. Number 6. The blue bottle of Phillips milk of Magnesia cost a few cents at any drugstore in Atlanta. It was sold for an upset stomach. The older black woman used it on her face. A paper-thin layer under her powder soaked up the shine. It softened the look of her pores. It held her powder in place all day. That use was never printed on the bottle. It moved from one black woman to the next, on their own say-so. The trick is a barely damp sponge, never a finger. A finger lays it on too thick, and it goes chalky and flakes by noon. A barely damp sponge leaves a layer so thin you cannot see it. It dries to a soft matte in 3 full minutes. 3 minutes, not 30 seconds, so the powder sets right. In an Atlanta summer, Willie May's face stayed matte from church to supper. The blue bottle is still on the shelf for pocket change. Number 5. The small jar of lanolin cost a few cents at the pharmacy, and Willie May bought 1 jar every 6 months. The older black woman knew why it worked. Lanolin is close enough to the skin's own oil that the skin takes it in. It does not fight it the way it fights the things sold in fancier jars. The trick is the amount. A pinhead, not a pea. A pea-sized dab sits there greasy and takes 20 minutes to sink in, which is why most people decide it does not work for them. A pinhead, spread across both palms and pressed onto damp skin, sinks in within 2 minutes. The pressing matters. Rubbing wakes up the grease. Pressing sets it down and steps back. The older black woman learned that from her mother at the same sink. 1 pinhead a night, and the jar lasted half a year. Number 4. The brown and gold of Palmer's cocoa butter sat on Willie May's vanity, the one nearly every black woman on the street kept too. The African-American grandmother warmed a little between her dark hands until it melted soft, then pressed it into her skin while it was still damp from the basin. Cocoa butter is rich in the fats that keep skin soft and springy. They help old marks fade and even. The trick is the warmth and the damp skin. When cold in the jar, it sits on top and never sinks. Warmed in the palm and pressed into wet skin, it melts in and stays. She did her elbows, her knees, her face, her dark hands themselves. The shops sell that same cocoa butter today, and a dozen pricier jars promise what it already did. Willie May paid almost nothing, and her deep brown skin held its glow into her 80s. Number 3. For the older black woman, this one was not a jar at all. It was what happened to her soap. The bar of soap on Willie May's washstand was made the old way, from fat and lye and heat, and it made 2 things at once: soap and glycerin. Glycerin pulls water out of the air and holds it against the skin. For a long time, both stayed together in the bar, and that is why the old soap left the skin soft instead of tight. Then the big soap makers worked something out. The glycerin was worth more taken out and sold on its own, so they pulled it from the bar and sold it to the cream companies. What was left cleaned harder. It stripped the skin's own oil along with the dirt. The skin felt tight after washing. That tight feeling is not clean. It is skin with its barrier stripped away. And the same companies that took the glycerin out then sold it back. They sold it back as a moisturizer. The older black woman never got caught in that. She kept a little bottle of glycerin and rose water on her shelf. She patted it on while her skin was still damp. It put back exactly what the new soap had taken. Nothing was invented. One thing was moved, and the woman who bought both paid twice. Willie May only ever paid once. Number 2. The thick cream Willie May kept in a plain jar came from a nut that grew half a world away in West Africa. Shea butter, pressed from that nut, where the women of that land had worked it into their skin for longer than anyone could count. The older black woman did not need a label to tell her what her own people had carried across the water. She warmed the raw cream between her dark hands. She pressed it into her face and her arms. It was rich and soft, a little nutty in the air. Raw shea is full of the fats and the soothing oils that keep skin supple and calm and slow to line. The trick is raw and unrefined, warmed in the palm, never the whipped and watered down kind. The shops sell shea now, as a luxury they say they discovered. They discovered nothing. The cream had crossed an ocean in the knowledge of her grandmothers. It never once stopped working. Willie May's jar cost next to nothing, and her deep brown skin carried the proof of it. Number 1. Willie May did not have a skincare routine. The older Black woman had a shelf with 13 things on it. Everyone bought without reading a label. Everyone used the way her mother had shown her. And under all of it sat one belief. Her skin was not a problem to be fixed. It was something that already knew what to do. Her part was only to feed it, to protect it, and to stay out of its way. Every jar on that shelf either helped her skin do its work or left it alone. The counter in that Atlanta store was built on the opposite belief, that her skin was broken and the next jar would fix it. That is the one thing the counter can never sell, because the moment you believe it, you stop buying. The older Black woman believed her deep brown skin was good as it stood. She fed it cocoa butter and shea and glycerin. She shaded it from the hard sun, and she let it be. 13 things, $3, and a face the cosmetics counter could not explain at 84. She was never poor in what she knew. She was rich in it. Willie May lived to 89 in the same house in Sweet Auburn. The young woman at the counter never did write down what she said. The older Black woman would have told anyone who asked, because there was no mystery to guard. There was a bowl of cold water, a bottle of witch hazel, a tin of cocoa butter, a jar of shea, and a mother who had shown her how at the sink. Every one of these things is still on a shelf somewhere today, most of them for a few dollars. The world keeps rediscovering them and giving them new names. She had them all along. She never called it a routine. She called it getting ready in the morning, and her deep brown skin carried the proof of it to the very end. Tell me one thing before you go. What is the one thing your grandmother kept on her bathroom shelf? The one you can still picture the second you close your eyes. Put it in the comments below. I read every single one of them. If any of these were already on the shelf you grew up with, then this channel was made for you. So take a moment to like the video and subscribe. The next one is already waiting. Until then, take good care of the skin you are in. It has been doing its job all along.